You know, originally the Brokeback Mountain was a creation, a word creation, programmed for the New York City Opera. And when I left New York City Opera and I came to Madrid, there was a moment where I thought, bah, you shouldn't do it in Madrid. One of the critics told me, you should change the cowboys into toreadores. I answered, if I would do that, I would be lynched at once in Madrid very soon. So I thought I will not do it. But finally, I thought it has only sense if I go further. It's not a story about two cowboys. It's a story about a great, great love who is not accepted by the society, but is a much greater love as a lot of marriages who are accepted and who have nothing to do with love, if I may say. Well, many times marriages for money, marriages for situation, and nothing to do with love. So I thought if I put it together with Tristan and Isolde, who is another great love, who is not accepted by Marke, then it becomes a larger sense, a more universal sense. So I programmed, so you can come to Madrid now and see on one night Tristan, and on the other night Brokeback Mountain. Brokeback Mountain is when you compare it with the picture, is much better, I would say, the opera of Warren. It's not so sentimental, and it's really a reflection about two men who have their girlfriends, who will marry them, who will have children, but who have developed this enormous passion, who comes out of a certain situation, being alone in this very dangerous mountain, looking for protection of the other one. And out of this looking for protection develops this love. They don't understand because they are not sophisticated like it happens many times in big cities. They live in this small country in Wyoming and they develop. And what Charles Wuorinen wanted to say is how many times social rules destroy great sincere sentiments. And what happens is that Ennis, who doesn't understand himself, and finally will discover that Jack really, this passion he has as well for Jack was his great love when he discovers at the end that Jack has conserved his t-shirt when they fight one day and was his blood on this t-shirt. He never told this Jack to Ennis, but then he discovers when Jack is killed by some homophobians and that he will go to the parents to say this. So this could be a very sentimental story, a little bit Puccini, so that I would not have done. But it's a story very sincere, very simple, of two simple men who discover something very extraordinary in their life, but who cannot completely live with it because the society prohibits it. And this is a real tragedy. And we should not forget, we are thinking at the moment about crisis, about money. So many people who are very sincere, who are people with deep feelings, are living tragedies because the society doesn't accept them. And I don't talk about homosexuals, I talk about a lot of other people who are outsiders, who doesn't have a lot of money, a little bit like Verdi does. You know, Verdi in Traviata, his great hero is Traviata, and his great hero is Rigoletto. And now these figures are figures who would not be invited at dinner at a great bourgeois family in town. So I always think in opera, in theater, we must defend the people who are weak, not weak, but who have not defense in society. And therefore I think it's a great opera, Brokeback Mountain. It's a beautiful music, not country music. It's really very composed in the great European tradition of Schoenberg and Berg, a very fantastic libretto for the opera. And I think it could be a great discovery for everyone who wants to see it. And if you can see it together with Tristan, it's the best method to discover something about great feelings and great existential problems. Yeah, you know, I always work with people I know from a long time. I never worked with Ivo van Hove, but we know each other for 20 years. and I was always looking for an opera he could really do, and that's something he knows really very well. And he's a man who has put in scene many times stories about impossible laughs, many times. Also, as when he does opening night of Cassavetes, for example, it's the same. And Titus Engel is a young conductor who is a fantastic conductor for contemporary art. They met and they liked each other very much. And I thought that I need for this new opera people who have time. They could work very long, could prepare very long with me in the theater. And so we created a marvelous teamwork. And I'm so happy that everyone is coming to Madrid. You know, as we have the writer Aguilar, who is coming for Indian Queen, Annie Proulx, she will be here for 14 days, and Charles Wurinen will be there. He's already here now, together with Titus Ivo. You know, theater only exists when you create an equipo. And when the equipo is working. It's not when you do in 3 weeks some stars and stage actor and a conductor who comes only for the last week. No, it's a month of work. We have worked more or less 2 years on this world creation, and I think we will create a new opera who will have a great success, and who is certainly an opera who will be showed in America. Already we have one German theater, I cannot say what theater, already who asked to do also, but in a new production, Brokeback Mountain, I think it's a team who could have big success in our time. Very short, I would like to the Indian Queen was an idea I had on the one side to make a project together with Conquista de Mexico, but at the same time, Peter Sellers was thinking of this during 25 years. But what was really a chance is that during the rehearsals of Yolanta, and I didn't know, I was discussing with Corensis of doing a Baroque opera, and we thought of doing Rappresentazione di Anima e di Corpo. But then Corensis told me, maybe we should do a Purcell. And Corensis says to Peter, oh, Peter, do you know Indian Queen? I would like to do this. And Peter says, of course I know it. I'm thinking of doing it since 25 years. So they decide to do it together, to develop a new creation. It means that we take the Indian Queen, but then we develop the non-libretto, what Peter Sellers has written, on the base of a book of Aguilar, is un escritor, a writer, Nicaraguan writer. And then we looked for the music of Purcell, who would go together with the emotions we wanted to communicate. And we discovered a lot of beautiful music we knew about existence, but who was not edited at the moment. So we have done a new edition of this music. So we get a fantastic evening of 3.5 hours, with a great story about how women was seeing this Conquista. And therefore, the Conquista de Mexico with Wolfgang Riem and the Harry Purcell is fantastic good together, because in the Wolfgang Riem is the conquistadores, la violencia, the violence many times of the man in confrontation with Montezuma. And in the Indian Queen, it's on the one side the European women who must try to live in this rainforest at one side. And we'll talk about tomatoes. What is this? You know, they don't know it. And on the other side, the Indian indigo women who are in confrontation with this European man they fall in love with, because they are like gods for them. Then they will discover that love is not always this great love, you know, in Tristan and Isolde and Brokeback Mountain, but it's many times only sexuality and desire. And therefore, I think it has these two operas together was a great project, and for me it was exceptional for the people in Madrid that during 3 months they can follow this reflection if they want. Some doesn't want, some wants only to listen to Elisir d'Amore, what is fine too, we will do next time, but I work really for a public who comes to the theater to have a debate not on small, but a great cultural debate on our society. We need this debate in this moment because we are in a crisis of values, and we will only solve this crisis if we have the force and the courage to debate these great questions in our theaters. And if we get subvention of the state, then we should do these great questions. The problem is that the state doesn't want this always. They want only amusement and divertimento. I cannot do that. If they want me as a director of theater, I have to create a debate, the theater, a great place where you meet other people of the society and where in a fantastic atmosphere with beautiful music you have a reflection about the great questions we all have.